Mayor Tishaura Jones is racking up a lot of frequent flyer miles. A new report in the St. Louis Business Journal tracked the mayor's travel logs and found she was out of town 34 days in 2021, then 41 days in 2022, 49 days in 2023, and through the month of November last year, it had racked up to 39 days. Joining us now is Jacob Kirn, the intrepid reporter who put all this together. Jacob, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Your maiden voyage with us here on the record.
Yeah.
A lot of people who might want to peek behind the scenes would want to know just how long did it take you to put the pieces of a puzzle like this together? This is no small task.
It took a few months, and it kind of started because a few months ago, I think you're probably familiar too, that we have had many more exits, corporate exits downtown than entrance. And what happened was that there was a big one. There was Fleischman Hillard, the giant PR firm that was yet another one that was deciding to move to Clayton. And when that happened, I felt like that was a pretty big event for St. Louis. So we were putting an article together, and I asked if the mayor would talk about it. I thought that was a fair thing to do. And what her office told me that day was that she would not, because she was in Mexico City. And that got us thinking, how often is the mayor gone?
And you got some answers to that. We ran through the list of days. Some of those were on trips that would last a week. Some were just for a quick day there and back. It kind of varied in your article, which folks can go online and look at and see all the different places and some of the reasonings for. But I wonder, before we get into the meat of the story, on the process. We do a lot of looking at public records and using the Sunshine Law to get after those public records. Did you run into any obstacles trying to put this together?
Well, it's interesting because there are supposed to be travel reports that are put together for when the mayor is traveling, I think some other officials too, and they're supposed to fill out these reports, but they're actually not so easy to get. You have to go to the registrar, then I had to file a sunshine request, then I had to pay fees to get them. And
can you say how much?
Oh,
maybe that's also a public record?
Not that much, but
a nominal
$30
fee.
or $40, something like that. And what
we call that a transparency tax over here.
Okay, yes. Yeah. And what they're supposed to put on there, and they do, is who's paying for these things. So in Tishaura Jones's case, there were outside groups that were paying for quite a few of these trips, including an abortion PAC in Washington, D.C., her alma mater, Hampton University in Virginia. There were other groups too. And I think what's interesting about it being a little bit difficult to get those records is that if you wanted to see who is paying for Tishaura Jones's, sometimes, often, multiple trips per month, it would be very difficult in real time.
And she did react to your story going to Facebook with a post saying that very little of this travel, if any at all, was paid for by government funds. She said that all of her personal travel, all of her government travel, she paid for with her own money, I think she said, and that 24/7 she's on the job with no paid time off. How did you assess the mayor's reaction to your story?
Well, I wish she would have talked to us, but I understand that she didn't want to. In terms of what she was saying, it's a little bit more nuanced, I think, than the claims that she was making in terms of paying for it all. Like I said, outside groups paid for some. There was city money that was at the mayor's office that paid for a trip to Kansas City. SLDC, the development corporation, paid for Tishaura Jones to go to Las Vegas twice for something called the International Council of Shopping Centers event. She was at one of those for 6 days in Las Vegas for that event.
I wonder how, you touch on this in your story, and again, folks should go read it, but how does the travel pattern here compare to past mayors in St. Louis? And did you see any comparison to other modern mayors in other cities about how this might rank?
I think that it would be good to look at other mayors that are in peer cities. There was a remark from a very long-time chief of staff, Jeff Rainford, for Mayor Slay, who felt that it would be extremely unlikely to find a chief executive for somebody who is with a city of this size who's going this often. But we did look at the past mayors, and I think have a pretty comprehensive look at mayors in modern memory. Lyda Krewson was a little bit more than 4 times a year. Mayor Slay was less than that. We talked to Freeman Bosley, who served in the 90s. He said he really tried to leave as infrequently as he possibly could because of the operational duties of the mayor's office.
That's an interesting thing about an executive position. very few other jobs come without a job description. And an executive can define and imagine any job description they want, really. Is the job of mayor to go out of town and bring business here? Is it to dig into the operations and go out alongside the snowplows and help them in their job? Just how hands-on or just how out and about you'd like to be, I guess, is really up to you, and then eventually up to the people. How did you assess her claims that in going out there, she was able to bring more funding back or create new opportunities, open new doors? Did any of that seem to ring true as you were reporting this story?
Some of it did, and so they gave us, I'll give all credit to the mayor's office, they answered our questions. She didn't interview with us, but she did answer our questions. And they gave us a 6-page list of over $1 billion in grants. Some of them really, when digging through it, it did appear to be new. There were some solar grants, there were grants going to nonprofits that they said that they were involved in. But there were some problems too. They were citing different grants. There was a lead grant from HUD. There was grants going to Slate, the jobs agency, where past administrations had gotten exactly the same grants.
So there's no evidence of any increase in funding, and it had predated, so that money might have already come in with or without her travel.
Yeah, well, another, we also wanted really specific information as to, well, which relationship alerted you to which opportunity and which application, and we just didn't get that kind of information. They also cited the $500 million ARPA funding that the city got. The problem with that was that the formula was put together and revealed by the federal government under Mayor Krewson, not under Tishaura Jones.
I wish we had a running list of how many politicians have taken credit for that $500 million of ARPA funding.
It's a lot of money.
We don't have time for all that. A lot of the trips that you list here, and some of those that you've already mentioned here, they do include real agenda items of actual government work and learning and things that seems quite substantive. Did any of the trips that you reviewed look more personal in nature, or did you leave personal trips out of your examination?
I didn't. I didn't include personal. There were, to say work 24/7, that could very well be true when she's on the job, but there were plenty of vacation week signifiers in the calendar. I mean, not
other than these trips.
Yes. So
this
trip total, in terms of 12% of the time in office, 160 plus days, it does not include personal vacations for the mayor.
Part of the reason this was interesting is that I learned something reading. I learned a lot of things reading your story. One of the things I learned was that previous Board of Aldermen president, interim president Joe Vollmer, said, "Look, if the mayor's absent, there's a clause that says that the Board of Aldermen president may have to step in." Now, absent is defined by, maybe unable to do the job if someone's out of capacity or in the hospital or something. But he wanted to know when the mayor was gone, you reported, because he might have to step in, and he wanted to be aware, where's the mayor?
Yeah, there seemed to be kind of a dispute as to what the city charter means. And one of the former mayors, Vince Schamel, and Joe Vollmer seemed to both be of the mind that absent means absent. So if you're gone from the city, what they interpret the charter to mean is that the powers of the mayor fall to the Board of Aldermen president. And what Vince told me is that years ago, when he was away from the city, the Board of Aldermen president at the time actually reversed government layoffs that Vince Schamel had put into place. So Vollmer, understanding this, wanted to be told when Tishaura Jones was gone, and he said that he was not, mostly.
Perhaps an interesting marker to watch for in any future administration, should there be a more adversarial relationship between the Board of Aldermen president and the mayor of St. Louis. But
could be.
Jacob Kirn, thank you for your reporting and for joining us here on the record to talk about it. We look forward to the coverage that comes next. I did notice, I didn't see any quotes from any of the candidates running for mayor in here. Might you?
No, we felt that mostly that the people who had experience in that office made sense for this article.
Makes sense. Perhaps they will be chiming in with reaction to that story very soon.
Could be.
Jacob Kirn, thanks for joining us.